Like, you hear me?
I hear you clear. You hear me?
All right, cool. Just make sure that we're recording. Hold on one
Yeah.
second. All right, we're recording. How you doing today?
Oh, man, shoot, tired. Just got off this
Yeah,
plane, 4-hour flight from Ohio, but it's all good.
oh yeah, most definitely starting out your Monday right, huh?
Yeah, man.
Trying to get to it. Appreciate you for your time. Just wanted to go into it, but definitely love to have you, utilize your platform, find a way for us to collab, just push your initiatives. I've been a fan of your work for a while. One of my frat brothers, he actually put me onto like your work, and just definitely wanted to know more. Just pretty much get to know you more. Any type of
Yeah,
mentorship capacity, and just try to figure it out. How we can find common ground.
yeah. I appreciate that for real, loved one.
So, we can just gonna start off with it now. So, she really wanted to get to know, a little bit about, your past, your present, and your future. Of course, we know about your past, as far as just, dealing with the business and everything. And of course, you changed now as far as you want to be more of a positive influence on the community. Just, could you explain to me as far as, your transformation and like how everything started from you being, Gorgeous Dre to Andre Taylor to the man that you are now?
Yeah, most people, in the public know me from the movie American Pimp, which the Hughes brothers hired me to be a technical advisor of in around '96. So, I was a technical advisor. My credits are at the end of the movie, and I put probably maybe 85% of the guys that were in the film. I chose to put them guys in the film. When I was in the streets, as Gorgeous Dre, street folks knew me. I was extremely successful in the way that I went about operating the street in the pimp life. Because my mom was a hoe at one time, and then she, got married and all that. But my dad was a pimp, and so I come up underneath my father. And the crazy thing about it, man, people would think that if your father was in the street life, that he would promote that to you. But the funny thing is, my dad never wanted me to be a part of the street life. He used to want me to be a criminal attorney, and he never pushed me in that direction in any capacity. And and I remember when I was young, he would give me certain books to read, and I'm 10, 11 years old reading great thinkers like poet James Allen and Sid Harther by Herman Hesse, just Norman Vincent Peale. At such a young age, he at some young age he would tell me, he said, son, you know everything there is to know about this slick part of life. You know all the movements, the mannerisms, all that. He said, so you don't have to learn that anymore. What you need to know is the square part of life. He said, because squares run the world. He said, I want you to understand that squares run the world. So, you could have a limited amount of information, street knowledge, but if you mix those two, then you can become unstoppable. So he encouraged me to read certain authors and, to then study the square way of life. And I took on some square jobs even before I went into the pimp life. I worked at Neiman Marcus in Beverly Hills. I worked at Nordstrom's. So I had a lot of square jobs. And what I would do in those jobs around prominent people is I would watch them. I would study them, like my dad said. I'd find out the things that they were reading. You know what I'm saying? I would emulate their mannerisms. And because what I was thinking is that ultimately there'll come a time that I'll be undetected. And so my strength was the street. My strength was the information I got from the game, from the streets. But I didn't want to be visible, to that other part of life, because if you're visible, they detect you, they won't let you get in. So I needed to also take on the characteristics of, people that had wealth, so that they'll allow me into that, into that community, and then I can maneuver with the street knowledge within that community and win, which I did with the game. So, I'm a stickler about, yes, street knowledge is incredibly powerful, but also I consider a person being a master of the game if he has all the information. So I wanted to study the street life, which I did because I come from it. I studied, reading and educating yourself, trying to get a certain level of consciousness, and I did that. And also spirituality. So I was real deep in that. At 16, I got saved. At 18, I was preaching. And at 21, I was pimping.
Yeah, it's crazy how it all goes together, but
yeah.
Man, it's crazy.
That's crazy, huh, man? But from each lifestyle, I learned something valuable, man, that I was able to use ultimately in my future, right? Because I used to tell people, people would try to maybe converse with me and maybe try to, prove a point to me. And I would say, you really at a disadvantage because you just coming with street knowledge. Or if I'm talking to somebody who is a Christian or preacher, I would tell them the same thing. You at a disadvantage because you coming from one form of information. If I'm talking to somebody who got formal education, I'm telling them you are at a disadvantage. I'm operating from three forms of information, the streets, you know what I'm saying, scholastic, and spiritual. So when I'm talking to a person, I'm pulling from all those sources of information to come up with the common denominator. So, when you get a person like that, well-rounded in all those different forms of information, then, he's damn near unstoppable or whatever he wants to do in life, whether it's pimp, hustle, doctor, lawyer, whatever, because he becomes multidimensional. My dad says never be a one-trick pony,
Absolutely.
So I don't want to take up all the space. If you got a question, I want you to be able to get it in.
Yeah, most definitely. We could start out, first I want to ask you, where are you from?
I was born in Seattle, and I was raised in L.A.
Absolutely. So going into that.
My mom's side of the family was in Seattle, and my dad's part of the family was in L.A. and Ohio. Yeah. I just came back from Ohio, meeting my dad's part of the family for the first time. So, that was beautiful.
How was that experience?
It was crazy, man. Just knowing about them, my dad telling me about that side, the mom's side, the dad's side of the family was in L.A., the Taylors. But the Ballingers are all in Ohio, Youngstown and stuff. So being able to go and finally, link up to all my family out there was just bananas, and they embraced me. And, the youngsters know who I am from the game and didn't really know we was all related, so they was real sparked about that. So, man, it was an incredible time, man.
It's definitely a blessing. So as far as, like you're saying, like the young ones actually know you from that, I know I had actually seen, like you say, you pretty much don't condone, like, really just showing them that lifestyle. But what attracts a lot of, youth to that lifestyle? Is it more so, like, is it the fame? Is it, like, the materialistic stuff? Or is it just, like, having that power, feeling like, the confidence? I don't know if it makes sense. But, like, what attracts a lot of youth to that?
Well, let me just say this. It's not that I don't condone it, because I'm a firm believer to reach people where they're at. So I never lose my connection to the streets and to street cats. And, guys that I have that still might be participating in the life, I'm still going to be there for them. Just because I've transitioned don't mean that I've forgotten about people. And, if you love people, you try to reach them where they're at and help navigate them, to try to get to another place, without judging them in the space, because I was once there too. You feel me? So I'm always open to my street cats on the streets because I love them, because I am them. And I just want to show them that you can transition with some of that information, and you can come utilize and apply that information in this other world. But as far as me, rejecting my folks from the streets, all street, man, please, it'll never be that. I am them, they are me. So, yeah, my whole thing is I try to educate people. I remember, this happens all the time, and somebody comes up to me and they want me to teach them about the pimp game. You know what I'm saying? Man, give me some game, Drake. And I try to explain to them, even when I was in the game, I wasn't teaching nobody about the pimp game. They say, what you mean? I was teaching people about how to be a man, right? And man, you could apply manhood to any area in life that you choose to live it in. If you choose, once I give you the information about manhood, if you choose to go use it to pimp, that's on you. If you choose to go use it to be sports, entertainment, a doctor, lawyer, or go into science or whatever, that's on you, right? But I'm going to give you the information about manhood, those fundamentals about what being a man is, because an American pimp, I think that's one of the one things that stuck out to people is what I said before you a pimp, a doctor, or a lawyer. My father taught me that you got to be a man first. You feel me? So that's what I'm on. So anybody, when I'm reaching out through social media, basically and generally, it's about giving brothers some fundamentals of manhood because they never had anybody really give it to them because they, a lot of dudes think when they turn 18, they a man, and it's not so. You know what I'm saying? Male, female, those are genders. A man is a position. You have to be qualified to walk in the position of a man. Just because you are of a certain age, I'm sure you've known people that might be 50, 60 years old that are childish as a teenager.
All right.
You know what I'm saying? So it don't really matter how old you are because manhood, being a man, is a position that you hold. So if you don't got the qualifications of this position, then you just a male. You just a gender, but you ain't no man. Yeah. Hope that answers some of them questions.
You definitely do. So in your opinion, what makes the foundation of a man? Like, what consists of that?
Well, one of the most important things about manhood is, being who you are because you value the man in you, not for nobody else. For instance, when I first met my wife, and, we've been married, like 21 years now, and when I first met her, I was explaining to her who I am as a person is not for you. If anybody came into my life, any woman, I'm going to show up to be who I am, right? I'm not this way because of you. Now, you might benefit from me being the way that I am, but my manhood is not predicated upon you, right? So dudes that I counsel, or they might call me for some life coaching or some counseling, and they might say, man, this my girlfriend, she's tripping, or my wife or whatever, my girl, she's tripping, man. If she would just do this, this, and this, I would do this, this, and that. And I would say, man, well, I don't ever say that kind of mess to me, man. What is you talking about? They said, Dre, what you talking about? I said, man, let me tell you what you sound like. Let me tell you what you're really saying. What you're really saying that in order for you to be a man, you need her to be a woman. Your manhood ain't predicated upon whether she's a woman or not. You're going to be who you are, period. Regardless of what she's going to be or what she's not going to be, you're going to be a man. Don't say that if she would have did this, this, and this, then you would have did this, this, and that. You waiting for her to show up to be a woman before you show up to be a man? So, so some of those fundamentals and not being deceitful and dishonest and lying, understanding the value of a man is so high that you refuse to reduce yourself to lies and deceit to have a woman. Ain't nobody that important to you that you would devalue yourself as a man to have some woman. Now, I'm not denigrating women. I'm just saying that as a man, there's a certain level of value you got to have about yourself. And if you don't have that, you're going to find that the relationship that you're in, that the woman always feels she's more valuable than you. And then you're going to have complications. Right?
Sure.
So, go ahead.
No, I'm tapped in. I'm tuned in.
Oh, so why is that important? I've said this before, but it bears repeating. So in every regular American relationship, the woman believes that she's more valuable than her boyfriend. How do I know? Well, go ask her if she would let her boyfriend sleep with another man, with another woman. She'll go off damn near cuss you out and every hell no, I'm going to let her, he better not, and yada, 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 yada. But then ask for another question. Ask her, well, let me ask you this question. What? Well, would you sleep with your favorite singer, your favorite rap star, your favorite movie star, your favorite sports figure, even though they had a wife? And if she's honest, she'll be like, yeah. If Denzel came and you got action, would you go? You know what I'm saying? So you have to wonder, why wouldn't she allow her boyfriend to be with somebody, but she would go be with somebody even though that somebody has a wife, because she feels that person, that celebrity, that rap singer, that movie star, that sports figure is more valuable than her.